If you've been told that test scores don't matter anymore, I want to gently push back because in 2025, that's not the whole story. Welcome to my video about the truth about test optional in 2025. So, in this year, test optional has changed. It doesn't necessarily mean that the test, the SAT, or the ACT is irrelevant. It can make a really big impact on admissions decisions and other things. So we are going to take a look at all that's changed and what's new for your student as we look at class of 2026. College applications are coming up soon. And I want to make sure that you guys have the information that you need to understand how test scores come into play. So first thing is some big name schools have required testing for a while, and there are some new ones that are now requiring test scores once again. There was a break during COVID, and now some schools are saying, hey, we need these test scores. We think they're good gauges of how well students are going to be prepared to enter college and take college level courses. So they went back to requiring test scores. So let's have a look at which schools these are. So you probably know there's a lot of public schools, especially the ones in Florida, that have been requiring testing for years. So all of the Florida publics require a test score. You can see some of the logos here. You can take a guess as we go at which logos these are. So University of Florida is the Gators. And then we have Florida State, South Florida, and Florida International, along with all of the other public schools in the state of Florida. Then we have some new ones. So for the class of 2026, 5 of the 8 Ivy League schools are requiring test scores. So when you apply, you have to also submit an official test score, either the SAT or the ACT. All of the schools I'm talking about today take either the SAT or the ACT. It's totally your preference. So you can probably guess what these schools are. The one on the far right is Brown. The other 3 Ivy League schools are still test optional. So we have Cornell, Harvard, Yale, and Dartmouth to round those out here. Some other interesting, highly selective private schools. I don't know if you guys know all of these logos. We have MIT, and that is a Georgetown Hoya. Bottom is University of Florida. I'm sorry, it's not Florida. It's University of Miami. We already know University of Florida requires. And then Stanford. And now, interestingly enough, we have some flagship public state schools that are requiring or expecting test scores. So Purdue on the top, they have kind of a different phrase than anyone else. They are called test expected. The rest of these are back to requiring test scores for class of 2026. Most recently announced was Ohio State at the bottom. We also have Georgia Tech there, Texas, and Tennessee. In addition to all of these places, so if you're going to apply to any of these schools, then I'm sure you can look up online which other schools, if you're looking to apply to a school, make sure you know their test policies. But how else, if it's optional, how can a test score help you? So it can help you stand out at selective schools. If you have a top tier test score, it can really validate your entire application. This can be important for all students, but I'm specifically speaking to students who are looking to major in the STEM field. Let's have a look at Duke as my example. So Duke has a phenomenally high test score range for students to submit. And so I have it here from Duke's website. They have a very high SAT scores out of a total of 1,600, as you know. The average middle 50% range goes from 1520 to 1570. If you have a score that is in that range, that might benefit you when you apply to a place called places like Duke. Another source I really like that has tons of great information on test scores and a lot of other things on college applications and admissions is Prep Scholar. And they break it down just a little bit more here for Duke, and they share the average math score, reading, writing score, composite, and the 25th to the 75th percentile too. So if you want to look up, what the average scores for admitted students were at your schools, you can go to any place similar. You can also look at class profile for a school to get that information too. So class profile Duke test scores would be a good place to look. Next up, you might get money for a good test score. We all love that, especially parents, right? So if you have a great test score and you're applying to schools, some schools are very transparent about this and some schools aren't. Here's an example of a school that is transparent about how much money you can get based on a test score. I'm looking at University of Kentucky here. Um, so if you're looking right here in this line, if you have a, oopsies, let me go back. If you have a 30 ACT or 1360 SAT with a combined unweighted GPA of 3.5, you are eligible for a $12,500 annual merit scholarship. That is a lot of money. If you don't have these test scores, let's say you took the ACT and you didn't quite get a 30, but you have an unweighted GPA of at least a 3.8, you can get that same scholarship. So it just kind of gives you a boost in this particular case with a good test score combined with a good GPA to get as much money as possible. I will say this is for non-residents because I feel most people watching this are probably not residents of Kentucky, but they have another list for residents. So it can help you with merit money. It can also help demonstrate academic readiness. So there's kind of two cases here. Number one, if you have a GPA that you don't feel accurately reflects your academic readiness, having a good test score can really boost that academic component of your application. The other case I'm thinking of here is if your high school or district has limited choices for rigorous classes. Let's say your school only offers a handful of AP courses, or maybe they don't offer an honors program. You can really show universities that you are well prepared for college level learning if you have a good SAT or ACT scores. And finally, here's my bottom line. Testing can be a strategic opportunity for you. So if you have a good test score, it can support or validate your transcript. So there's one lovely piece in your college applications that colleges are really taking seriously in 2025. I encourage you finally to check out my 90-minute SAT strategy sprint session. So if you plan on taking the SAT in August of this year, I don't care if you're a rising senior or a rising junior or younger, it's for that sitting of test takers. What I'm going to do in that course is walk you through what the test really covers, how to approach it strategically. I've got timing strategies, I've got content strategies, and I'm also going to talk about the tools that are really helpful that are built right into the testing platform. So it's a super smart way to prepare for the test, especially if you have limited time for that. I'm going to post a link in the description. Thanks.